Santana is definitely in the building. Thank you to the people of the 9th District. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to serve you. It has truly been an honor and a privilege to represent you in this beautiful building. It has been a responsibility that I have worked hard to earn every day. I want to thank God, because you and I have had some pretty intense arguments over 6 years, and for some reason you always had the upper hand. Go figure. To the clerks, the sergeants, and everybody up front that make this building go far and work, thank you so much. To my staff, Joe Taylor, Renee Edmondson, Chris Savisa, Cecilia Fierro, Tracy Henry, and Mario Bueno. Whatever success I had in this building, I didn't do alone. When I hired you, I asked you not to work for me, but to work with me, because this is truly a family and a team effort. To those who helped me to get here and helped me during the best and the worst of times, Representative Steve Tabachman, Rashida Tlaib, Dave Woodward, Jimmy Womack, John Olumba, you crazy dog, but you was right. Chanel Jackson, thank you, my baby, for teaching me the rules of the game. Leslie Love, by the way, you are fully paid on your Harvey Santana taxes. My seatmate, Robert Kozowski, who knows good rum and a cigar. My friend, Hugh Crawford. Ken Kurtz, that man prayed a lot for me. The Geist family, I can already see when Michael and Sophia go on their first date. And to David Nathan, I know that a lot was made out of my minor disagreement with him. But he's a good man, he's a good father to his children, and if he ever needed my help, I'd be the first one in line to make sure he got it. Senators Virgil Smith and Bert Johnson for being there for me since day one. I would ride with you anyway, except Virgil, because you have an AR-15. And to David Kniezek, the man who I am going to embarrass in this speech. So he's just a wonderful human being, but I just want to tell you one story. Well, actually two. The first day this man decided to run for public office, he comes to my house, comes down to the war room, my wife greets him, says hello, goes upstairs. I swear to you, this man was dressed like he had just jumped out of a rap music video. And as I was looking at him, I said, bruh, this is gonna work for Inkster, but we're gonna have to completely change this up for Dearborn Heights. I could not be subtle about it. The second is the Democrats sent us way up to the UP somewhere, up in Scott DeAnda's district. And if you haven't been in Scott DeAnda's district, there's a strip where everything is bar, not Hank's bar, not Jim's bar, just bar. So we go to this one bar, and there's these girls from, I don't know, Finlandia University or whatever's up there, and it's obvious I'm not from around there. So I struck up a conversation with these young ladies, and as we're talking, they say, so what are you guys doing up here? And we were in this intense debate about the film tax credits at the time. And I says, oh, I'm from Hollywood. They're like, oh, really? Are you here to film a movie? I said, oh, yeah, these Michigan film tax credits, all real great. Oh, is it a kind of an adventure movie? I said, no, actually, the star of the show's right there. You see that white guy right there? Yeah, that guy. Pointed at David. And they're like, well, what's the name of the movie? It's called The Bachelor. Well, what kind of movie is it? Adult. You should have seen the look of horror on these girls' face. And David could not pick up one number the entire night. I want to thank Dennis Muchmore and Richard Baird, two guys who were always in my corner no matter what. Reverend Dr. Oscar King, another man who spent a lot of nights praying for me. The operating engineers, Local 324, who never turned their back on me and always stood there with me. The lobby corps, Mike Hawks, and in particular Ken Cole, who has helped me guide me through my moments of absolute brilliance and moments of absolute failure. To Democratic and Republican policy staff, Kofi Ann Hawthorne, you're in my heart. Please take care of my baby. Craig Ryan, Adam Carlson, Alicia Guevara, and Rachel Richards. Mayor Duggan, Mayor Bing, and Governor Snyder, thank you all for your leadership. I know I gave you a hard time, but you know, that's what happens. To Speaker Bolger, Speaker Carter, and Chairman Pashoka, thank you for your leadership. I never gave you a hard time because that would have been stupid. To my mom, my dad, my sister, my children, Sophia, Olivia, and Samuel, And my wife, who's here with me today, the next state rep for the 9th District, she's my best friend, my motivation, my soulmate in every way. I hope that those who don't know her will take the time to get to know her. Then you'll know why I fell in love with her. All I have left is some advice for those who are willing to listen about what it takes to survive and excel in this environment. The first piece of advice is that you must have faith. You must have faith for such a time when you get knocked down and you look up and the only one around you is you. Everyone who has said they would be there for you is nowhere to be found. I don't care how long you've been doing what it is you do, how smart you think you are, where you've been, where you're going, how many degrees you have prominently displayed on your wall, or how good you think your stuff is. There are some people in this room whose only purpose in life is to make your life miserable. And they can never be with anybody because they don't know how to be with themselves. You will definitely need faith because there will come such a time when you've been used, backstabbed, lied to, lied on, talked about, betrayed, deceived, manipulated, sold a bad package of bills, promised something, reassured, disappointed, abandoned, and left for dead. And despite it all, the second piece of advice, you have to have a lot of fun. In case you haven't noticed, me and Robert, we laughed a lot, especially all the haters, because y'all kept us in stitches. Third, one of the first stories in the Bible teaches us that a talking snake climbed out of a tree and whispered a lie into the ear of a woman. And that event changed the history of man forever. The moral of the story is simple as it relates to this building. Be careful of the talking snakes bearing fruit, trying to convince you that their way is the right way. Fourth, if you cannot change the people around you, then change the people around you, because you cannot achieve epic things with basic people in your corner. Lastly, you must understand that this room is an uneven playing field. It is full of double standards. There are certain rules for certain kinds of people. There are certain opportunities set aside for certain types of people. So when an unforeseen opportunity shows up, be prepared to take advantage of it and don't ever apologize for putting yourself in a position where you can better serve your district. So it is truly interesting that I found opportunities to be a leader and demonstrate leadership in the most unlikely of places. Those opportunities were given to me by two conservative Republican speakers of the House. Speaker Bolger, who looked past some of my not-so-good moments and saw talent in me and was willing to watch my back when an attempt was made to have me removed of the Detroit Bankruptcy Committee. But Jace is a man's man. His words were clear. Harvey has earned that spot. And I never said it publicly, but I want to say it here. Thank you very much, Jace. The second opportunity was given to me by Speaker Kevin Cotter, who called me up while I was in Miami at the house of Gianni Versace at a conference with other Hispanic legislators from around the country. When I received the call, I was shocked. I thanked him for the opportunity, and I also told him that he had just made history, because in the history of Hispanics serving in this legislature, the highest position that any of us have ever achieved was chairman of the Transportation Committee. Minority chair of appropriations, I believe, carries more weight, especially if you know what you're doing. When I told the Hispanic legislators at the conference what had just occurred, they all looked at me, both Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives. They raised their glasses and toasted to my future success. Some even cried, hugs and kisses, high fives and bear hugs. It was truly one of the most beautiful moments of my political life, because the first Puerto Rican elected into the Michigan House of Representatives broke through a bulletproof glass ceiling. A senator named Rene Garcia from Florida raised his glass and offered another toast with some advice and counsel. He said, quote, "Congratulations, mijo. We are all very proud of you. We have seen you evolve into a great legislator. You understand what it means to work across the aisle to get things done, but prepare for yourself for what is about to happen. You're going to get crucified. Your colleagues are going to be mad. Your colleagues are going to be jealous. Your colleagues are all going to attack you. And their anger will likely come from an inner hatred, not from you or for you, but for people like you, because they simply don't want you to rise to the top without their permission. And the most spiteful and vindictive people will likely come from your own community. Others will show you how timid they are because they won't have the nerve to stand up for you. But they will all come back eventually when they need something. End quote. No truer words have been spoken to me in 6 years. So as I reflect on what I've been able to accomplish as state representative, I can tell you this with all certainty. In the last 6 years, the 9th District has gotten the best that I can give. I don't know if there was anything else that I could have done. In the past 6 years, I passed more legislation than any other Democrat serving with me. I've been able to direct investment back into my district, evidenced by Brennan Pools at Rouge Park, a running track at Cody High School, the reconstruction of a $3 million bridge on Southfield Freeway, closing the deal on a $5 million clinic that will serve 18,000 poor and indigent people in my district. 18,000 people, yeah. A baseball field at Dawson School for children who are literally playing in a field of dreams. And I help my colleagues secure funding for important projects and programs in their districts. As a Democrat, I've been tapped by my Republican colleagues to better understand public policy discussions such as Detroit bankruptcy and the Detroit public schools and the like. I literally got off a plane to vote against the right to work legislation, voted against PA4, PA46, eliminating the cap on charters, a $1.5 billion cut to education. I worked hard to prevent the repeal of Michigan's item pricing law, which, by the way, I'm still aggravated by, because every time you go to a store, half the time the scanners are broken. You don't know how much anything is, so I walk out. Thank you, Lisa. And my grocery bill hasn't gotten any cheaper either. I led the effort to pass a workman's compensation bill package that helped workers in Genesee County who found themselves without health insurance because of a technical glitch in the system. I led the effort to update our domestic violence laws. And when it came to violence, well, I'm the only guy in this room that has literally been beat up just because I wanted to pass a much-needed mixed martial arts legislation for amateur fighters. And to prove the point, the community was so thankful for that work. They gave me the championship belt of Elise Anderson, who's the 105 female champion in Michigan. And they wanted this here so that they could show me some love. Corrections reform. I'm proud that after 5 years of sweat and tears, my work paid off when we extended the age in the Homes Youthful Trainee Act, and we passed bipartisan legislation with employer certification for returning citizens. I did all these things as a Democrat serving in the minority party. And I never used the excuse that some find so convenient when faced with an obstacle. Excuses like, we don't have the votes. The Republicans don't want to work with us. Those people are a bunch of racists. On and on and on. Never an excuse. Always a pathway to success called bipartisanship. I believe I helped to change the dialogue and narrative about the city of Detroit. I hosted several bus tours, town halls, and one-on-one visits to my district and the city of Detroit. And for those who felt offended by me or my political style, then I want to say from the bottom of my heart and every corner of my soul that I apologize to absolutely no one. You see, what people never saw or knew about me was the amount of work I did in the community amongst a population of citizens that doesn't even vote. It takes a certain type of politician to walk into a prison yard and immediately have the respect of the prisoner population as they try to pull together a gang truce. It takes a certain type of politician to be a winning soccer coach at the Rosedale Park Soccer League with an impressive record of 38 wins and 4 losses. It takes a certain type of politician to take 20 kids from Cody High School to the Frank Hurt Murphy Hall of Justice to see grown men sentenced to multiple years in prison, then to the Wayne County morgue so they can actually see what death looks and smells like. And later that day to take them to Jackson Prison so they could see where their behavior was likely going to get them if they didn't change. Today, those 20 young men are sitting in college classrooms around the United States and working as productive members of society. Not one of them have seen the inside of a prison cell. It takes a certain type of politician to sit in a drug house with a gang of young men looking to ride on their enemies, to pull guns out of their hands, change their point of view, and breathe life into them. And to find out through working with them throughout the years, they couldn't read the court documents, they were sent in the mail. So Representatives Price and Garcia, now you know why I wasn't going to turn my back on you on that third grade reading bill, like someone else did in that process. Because the needs of my people are far greater than the talking points for a press release or being part of a caucus position. Yet, as skilled as I am, as capable as I am, as talented as I believe I am, I was not allowed to sit in a room and discuss public policy with adults. In closing, my legacy won't be judged by how many bills I had signed into law, nor by the amount of appropriations I was able to secure. It will be judged when I'm old and gray, I'm laid out in a hospital room, I put way too many miles on my body. Everything is broken and there is no way to fix it. As I lay there, in will walk an Arab woman in a hijab. She will review my charts and say, "Mr. Santana, I'm your doctor." I will look up at her and smile and say, "Great, now give me some Vicodin." The doctor will say, "Do you remember me?" I will say, "No, can you give me the Vicodin?" She will say, "My name is Sura. When my family immigrated to the United States from Iraq to escape Saddam Hussein, we moved in next door to you. Your wife and you made us feel very welcome. You made a lot of phone calls to important people and made sure that I got into the right schools. Thank you for taking care of me. Now it's my time to take care of you." And I will look at her and smile and say, "Great, you can start with giving me that Vicodin." As I'm laying in bed reading through some political magazines, I will read a story of a young man from Detroit who is a member of Congress, furiously debating the politics of the day. I will be reminded he is one of those young men from Cody High School. I will then glaze over to the television as a young man from Detroit walks out of the locker room to the starting blocks of a swimming pool, focused and determined as he prepares to break Michael Phelps' swimming record at the International Olympic Games. The crowd will be cheering, screaming, because history is going to be made. And I will smile because the commentator will tell the story, how this young man spent his summers training in a public swimming pool in Rouge Park. It was his only outlet that prevented him from becoming another statistic in the pipeline to prison. That's when I'll know that everything I went through, everything that I strived to achieve, everything that I stood for was meant for something. That's when I know that my time here was a success. The Vicodin will kick in, and like Tony Soprano, I just fade to black.
Thank you, Representative Santana.